In this video, we are going to look at the present value of a series of unequal cash flows. So, two things to note here. First, we are trying to determine or calculate the present value, not the future value. Second, the cash flows that we have are not the same year after year, they are different. Let's set an example. Let's say we have, again, we're going to do a timeline so it's very easy to understand the problem. Let's have a timeline here. So we have an ordinary annuity that pays for the next 5 years. This is today, end of first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. And this is year. This timeline is year. Okay? Now, this ordinary annuity pays $1,000 at the end of the first year, pays $2,000 at the end of the second year, pays $4,000 at the end of the third year, pays $5,000 at the end of the fourth year, it pays $6,000 at the end of the fifth year. Now, look at this unequal cash flows. These cash flows that are happening at the end of each year are not equal. That's what this unequal means. Okay? Now, we are not going to calculate how much these will be worth at the end of the fifth year, but we are going to see how much they will be at the present time today. So for example, annuities are, sometimes they say, oh, invest this amount of money today. Oh, the other component of this problem is that this annuity pays a 5% interest rate per annum. So each year it's going to pay 5% per year. So annuity means that this is today, and this is, we are going to calculate the present value of this annuity. So annuities are these ordinary annuities are in such a way that this problem, for example, can be posed as, so you know, some investment manager comes to you and say, well, invest this amount of this present value, invest this amount of money, or this sum of money today with my fund, with my company, whatever, and I will have a 5% interest rate per year, so that I will pay you this much amount at the end of the year. You know? Now, let's say this investment manager or annuity expert comes and say, "Oh, pay me, give me, I don't know, 20,000 today, and at 5% interest rate I manage this money, and at 5% interest rate I'm going to pay you $1,000 at the end of the first year, $2,000 at the end of the second year, $4,000 at the end of the third year, $5,000 at the end of the fourth year, and $6,000 at the end of the fifth year. Pay me, give me $20,000, invest $20,000 today. I'll manage it in such a way that you'll receive these cash flows in the future for the next 5 years." Now, are you going to give him this $20,000? How do you know that the present value of these annuities or annuity payments is $20,000? That's what we're going to calculate. There's no one single formula because these cash flows are unequal. You can't just plug in the annuity amounts because the annuity amounts are not the same year after year. So what we're going to do is, let's just break this down. Let's break this timeline down. And let me just do this first part. Let me redraw this part. Right? 0, 1, present value, how much at times equals to 1. This annuity is going to pay you $1,000, right? 5% interest rate. Like, forget these annuity payments that will be happening after the second year. And just think about this, the first year. So, what kind of problem this is? So, we have, given from the perspective, this is year, year 1, year 0. From the perspective of year 1, this is a present value. From the perspective of time 0 or year 0, year 1 is a future value, right? So this is basically the future value, right? So, and if we only have this one-time future value payment for getting these, how do we calculate the present value? We calculate present value as future value divided by 1 plus the interest rate raised to n, right? Where this is simply future value times 1 plus r raised to minus n. Okay, so for this particular problem or segment of the whole timeline, our present value will be the future value, which is $1,000, divided by 1 plus r, the interest rate being 5%. And this is only a length of 1 year, so our n will be 1. Or this is simply as, you can write this simply as $1,000 times 1 plus 0.05 raised to minus 1, right? And whatever amount that you get, you put it here, right? Let's just calculate this anyway. So this is $1,000. 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05 raised to minus 1. This means 1 over 1.05 times 1,000. 1 over 1.05. 1 over 1.05 equals times 1,000. 952 and 38. This is equals to 900. How much was that? Oops. 952 and 38. So with 5% interest, okay, you should have invested $952.38 today so that you can get $1,000 at the end of year 1. So the same applies for the others. It's just we are going to sum them, okay? So the first payment, so what we're going to do is it's just going to be this present value will be the sum of n starting from 1, because the first year, up to the 5th year, right, of the future value. This is 1. No, this is n, future value of n. The future value n times 1 plus r raised to minus n. This will be our formula. It's just we are going to do a summation. So since these are unequal cash flows, we have to sum them. So the first is this, like 1,000. So for the first year, we have 1,000 future value, 1 plus 0.05 raised to minus 1 minus n. Second year, we have 2,000, 1 plus 0.05 raised to minus 2. Third year we have $4,000, and $4,000, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, right? That's going to be 3 years. 4,000, 1 plus 0.05, 3. This minus 3 comes from this formula, minus n, minus 3 years. Fourth year is equals to, I believe it's $5,000, 1 plus 0.05 raised to minus 4. Fifth year equals 6,000. I believe the 5th-year annuity is 6,000. Yes, and for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years times 1 plus 0.05 raised to 5 years. Now the sum of all of this, the result of this plus the result of this plus this plus this plus this, which is equals to about $15,036.46. Now this is the amount of money that you should invest at t is equals to 0, so that at 5%, you'll receive these series of cash flows for the next 5 years. So the proposition by your fund manager that you have to pay 20,000, that's not that's misleading. So you have to pay only $15,000 to be able to collect these cash flows for the next 5 years. So this is what we mean by calculating the present value of these series of unequal cash flows, or ordinary annuity.